So glad you're with us on Your Retirement TV. Sam Duell, Andi Duell, joining us from Duell Financial Strategies. I'm Brad Johansson. Guys, always great to be with you. We always talk about a plan, but I kind of want to dedicate this show to the plan, or maybe the multiple plans that we think we're in that may not be exactly what we're planning. And I want to start kind of with a 401k if we can, because it seems everybody is familiar, if really not schooled on exactly 401k. I mean, if I go to a question of, you know, this is my justification. I got a 401k through work. That's my retirement plan. So I got it taken care of in myself. Kind of a misnomer.
Yeah, it's your retirement account. It's certainly the money that you stashed your retirement, your retirement shekels away in. So that's your retirement account. And they go by a lot of different names, Brad. So the most common one usually is 401k, but then there's IRA, 401k and IRA, same thing, 457, 403b, TSA, which means tax sheltered annuity. The Postal Service has their own version of it. So
depends on who you work for.
It depends on who you work for, yes, or what field you work in.
Okay.
Like if you work in education, or if you work in medical, or if you work in private, that's the number or the letter number combination will change. But they're all essentially the exact same thing. And all it means is that's money that you put away for retirement. You put the money away pre-tax, meaning if you made $2,000 and you were putting $200 into your retirement plan, well, you only got taxed on $1,800 that pay period. So the money that went into that plan has never been taxed. And then any growth that you've had in that plan during that time frame, it's called tax deferral. It's never been taxed either. So you've got this pile of money that you've put some money in, and your employer has put some money in, and then hopefully the market has continued to put some money in. So none of this mound of money that you have saved in your retirement account has ever been taxed. So that's why when you start to withdraw it, it's now fully taxable. And this is where people get into trouble. And this is where there are so many misnomers about this. This is, Andy's talked about this in past shows, where the common misconception and misnomer today is, hey, don't worry about taxes when you're in retirement. Because remember, you're not going to have a job anymore. So you're not going to have the income coming in that you used to. You're probably not going to pay anything in taxes, or you're going to be paying less in taxes. Well, it could be further from the truth. That isn't even remotely close to accurate, because the money that you take out of the retirement account, the 401k isn't a retirement plan, it's a retirement account. The money you're taking out of that account has never been taxed, and it's taxed exactly the same way that your paycheck was taxed, ordinary income.
So the anger comes when somebody walks into your office, Andy, and goes, this is my number. I would like this number when I retire, until you say, have you considered your partner in this, which ends up being the federal government?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, so we see that oftentimes with, I want to retire at a specific age, or I want to retire at a specific number. But the challenge can be is that if your accounts are in the 401ks, and that can be a Roth or a traditional portion of that.
Most of it's traditional.
Most of it's traditional, because
Okay.
Roths didn't come about until later. But the challenge can be how do I draw money out of this effectively, and the understanding that how much of that is actually going to go to the feds, and that again is based on that income tax bracket. And so if you want to continue to live a similar lifestyle to what you've been living, and then turn around and say, oh, I don't want to pay taxes on it. Well, something's got to give, because if you're going to maintain the same lifestyle, you are probably going to maintain the same tax bracket that you were in, unless you have substantial dollars that are in a Roth IRA. Most people do not have the same level of money set aside in their 401k as they do in a Roth, or vice versa.
It's always been out of balance like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I say, well, I've got this money, that's my number, tax what they do, that's what they do. I've got a Social Security account. I'm just going to live off that because the government promised me that my Social Security account will take care of that, and I can live off that.
Yeah.
Give me an adjustment to that statement.
We're finding that most people today, that Social Security, depending upon what your lifestyle is, but for most people, especially where we're at, because people are not big spenders in Wisconsin. In most cases, they're not. We find it, I would say probably the average retirement income that most people are going to live on when they come in and see us is somewhere between net, probably somewhere between $50,000 and $80,000 a year. So So, because, you know, for instance, if you were going to live on $80,000 a year, well, you got to remember you're in probably a 12% federal tax bracket, you're in a 5% state tax bracket. So if you want to net 80, we've got to withdraw 17% more than that to get you $80,000. So that's where most people come in at. But what we find is that they never think about the tax implications of it. They never think about that that's going to cover it. And certainly that, you know, $3,000 a month, $36,000 a year you're going to get from Social Security. Well, if you're living on, if you need 60 in your pocket, then that $36,000 you're getting Social Security isn't going to make it. You've got a $24,000 income gap at that point in time. So then you have to start doing the planning and looking back and saying, okay, where's the $24,000 come from?
Well, the buildup for that kind of comes in. I don't mean to interrupt, Andy. I'll let you come off of this. You say most of the people we have are not big spenders. They're coming in. There's now a lifestyle thing with the folks that you've got coming in.
Yeah.
There's a great thing about that. The problem is if I don't need things, this is all I want, there may be a deficit in the planning of understanding, even just to survive in what I would call a meager way. I haven't figured out the plan to do that. And I thought that I was going to be okay because my numbers weren't that big.
Right. I think the other challenge I was going to say is not only do you have to figure out what your number is, but if you've got to pay taxes on top of that, you probably are going to have to take out extra to take care of the taxes that you're going to have to pay. So it's not just the income gap number, it's also the additional taxes that you're going to be due. So we see that quite commonly where people are like, oh, I want to take this much out to pay for XYZ. It's like, well, it's not just that much that you're going to take out. Or I want to take out $10,000 or $20,000 or $30,000 to buy a car. Well, it's not just those dollars and cents. It's the additional money that you've got to pay to the taxes to take care of that. So it's not just 30, it's 30 plus.
And I guess that goes to that next question. Well, okay, I get it, but I'm not going to be spending as much as I do now in my retirement. Are people not adjusting on a number? Maybe there's an inflationary situation that has not been considered in that as well?
I don't even know if it's the inflationary situation, Brad, so much as it is, again, just one of those, one of those consumer myths that for whatever reason has been around forever, and it hangs on like a rabid dog. I mean, it's just pervasive with this notion that, oh, when I retire, I'm probably only going to be living on the common industry numbers, about 70% of what I was making. That defies any level of logic whatsoever. It's like, that's like coming to you and saying, well, Brad, you're really not using all of the money that you're making right now. You don't have a problem with the 30% pay cut, do you?
Yeah, I mean, how long has this myth been out there being sold?
Forever. It's been forever in the financial planning industry. That's typically what they say. Plan on living on 70% of what you were making when you retire. But I got to tell you, I don't even know. It would probably depress me to think about how many thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people I have spoken to, either in person or at the events that I've done over so many years. And that myth is pervasive the entire way through. It's like, it's just crazy how many people look at it in that way. But I've never, ever, in all of the people that I've met with personally, I've never had anybody come in and say, yeah, I think we're going to take about a 30% pay cut in retirement here. We don't need all of that money. That's why we call it a retirement lifestyle.
Yeah.
The retirement lifestyle, for the vast majority of you, is no different than what the pre-retirement lifestyle was. The only difference is where you're spending the money. Now you start to reallocate stuff. You start to spend money here instead of spending money over here.
I was going to say, when you're working, you're filling your time. Your 2,500 hours is filled by a job.
Right.
What are you going to do with that time when you retire?
Yep. Where's the money going to come from?
Are you just going to sit on the couch and do nothing so it doesn't cost you anything? Or are you actually going to go out and play golf or garden or, go visit the grandkids, go family, go travel, go do these things for the first 10 years? I mean, it's generally thought that the first 10 or so years of your retirement is the most expensive.
It's what we call the go-go year.
Yeah, you feel good.
Years.
You want to go do things. We're done with work. Let's go do stuff. Well, that's going to cost money. So you're going to continue to spend money. And so then it's just a matter of having that plan to dictate, okay, well, this fits within our budget, or we're going to offset it and take it from this account, and then we'll come back to this account, So there has to be a plan. It's not just, I'm just going to reach into this account and take money out willy-nilly, because that's what's going to get you in trouble.
Yeah.
Have you been sold a bill of goods? Are you with an advisor who has said, here's what you're dealing with. You only need 70% of what you're making right now. It's a myth. And if you haven't been told that you need a plan to create a purpose for yourself well beyond these years, beyond sitting on the couch and doing nothing, then now is the time to come in. The visit is free. A complimentary plan goes with it. And there's a book that we're going to talk about that goes with it as well that might just help. This is your time. Don't waste any more time. This is your retirement with purpose. 866-203-7486. We'll be right back.
We get to be the face, we get to be the voice, we get to be the public, the public persona of Duell Financial Strategies, but we believe very much in taking care of the people that take care of us. I think a company has to live its mission statement, and I think it's a constantly evolving thing with a progressive company. I see companies do that, and a lot of times it's just nothing more than a bunch of empty words that someone has come up with in marketing that sounded really good.
From a mission standpoint, I guess it's just to be as efficient as we can with helping people and creating solid financial plans for them. We have wonderful people that are working for us now, and I appreciate all of them. They do make our lives easier.
Behind myself and Andy and Luke and Lake, the advisors, there's a team that sits behind them that makes it possible for us to do every day what we do. It's like we just happen to be the ones that are sitting in front of the camera right now, but they're the ones that actually do the hard work. We want people in a position in our office that they enjoy what they're doing, that they can excel at what they're doing, that they can really achieve their own personal goals in what they're doing and do what they do best and kind of leave them alone. They're a pretty good company to work for, I think.
I love to be able to be taken back just by that video back to the farm. What a beautiful spot it is.
Yeah, you were there that day.
Oh my goodness. It was a wonderful day just to be able to experience what you guys are now pushing forward in your lives is exactly what you're looking for the people that you're working for. A lot of you are joining us now who have maybe only listened on WTAQ or WHBY. We're happy you're with us. We're always thrilled to have you with your retirement TV. Andy and Sam joining us now, and that spot on the farm, it looks relaxing, but I watched you two. The work is fairly extensive to what you're doing out there, and this is moving forward to that in purpose. And as we're talking about all of these accounts and trying to make that plan, somebody will come in, many of them, and or not come in because they say, this is simply too complicated for me. I don't want to have to deal with it. It's going to work itself out. Mm-hmm. Can you talk somebody through that fear?
Sure. A lot of what we do is behavioral finance. And so when we're studying behavioral finance and how people make decisions based on where their emotions are, a lot of what we do is quieting the emotions and let's talk about the math, because math doesn't lie. And so when you're going into those worlds of, let's put it down on paper, let's look at what your lifestyle is going to cost you, let's look at how much income you have coming in, how much you have going out, let's really focus in on honing those numbers so that you know with certainty, yes, I can, or no, I can't. And that's really, at the end of the day, what we're striving for. And that is why, Sam's book, to me, makes so much sense for people to actually have a book that they can use as a workbook to go through their retirement. Our budgetary sheets that we have on the website for you, you can go on anytime and print those out. But those are the things that really do hone your plan and make sure that your numbers work for your lifestyle and what it is that you want your lifestyle to look like.
I'm glad you brought that up because we talk about the book. This is the book, Purpose Determines Placement. The book is free if you set an appointment. Sam, you jumped into this in the pandemic. Was there anything coming out of it? Because I've asked you a lot of what's in the book, and it covers almost all of the things that we talk about, and then some. Anything cathartic, anything enlightening to you as you're starting to put this down on pieces of paper as you were writing this?
I think just the realization really that as I started to see it in a written form, of how complex it is and how many moving parts there are to all of this planning thing. We do it every day. It's all I've done for the last 23 years now. So I get lost in the nuances of it, if you will. And I forget that people don't experience these things every day. People aren't using these tools every day. That's why we try very hard to not go into broker speak. The book has no broker speak in it. And what do I mean by broker speak? Every person that's listening to us is familiar with this because I hear it. You tell me all the time. They say, well, you know, I feel like when I'm sitting in a meeting with them, they're just talking over my head. And they're talking fast, and they're talking about alphas and betas and gammas and correlations and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you know, I don't know. If I go to the doctor, I don't need some sort of a detailed textbook explanation as to what that actually is on my arm. It's like, just tell me it's a wart and we're going to hit it with some liquid nitrogen and get rid of it. That's the only thing I care about, right?
Make it simple.
Make it simple. So that's what I did when I wrote the book. That's what we try to do in every meeting that we have with people, is just to bring it down to a level that everybody understands. And the reason that we've always tried to do that so much, Brad, you've alluded to it, like you were at the farm, you were in our office for a couple of days. Probably some people have seen those episodes we did where the dogs were on the couch with us and everything. But we live exactly the same way our clients live. We are our clients. We invest in the same things that our clients invest in. We own the same type of retirement income and retirement protection products that our clients have. Our philosophy has always been, and this is a saying that I use often with people, is that you need to eat what you cook. A really, really good chef also eats what they cook. It's like, I don't want you serving me some dish that you've never tasted. It's like, well, it looks good on paper. A lot of things look good on paper, and they're lousy when you actually put them into practice. So we try very hard to live the same lifestyle that our clients live, so that we know what they're experiencing on a day-to-day basis. We use the same type of products. We use the same investment managers. We use everything that we have our clients recommend we use, so that we have firsthand experience with it. Because that's, to me, is important.
Let me play off that. And then somebody says, okay, you're doing what we do. We'd all do. If I got a guy, and the guy's telling me this, and he's probably got me in something, well, what's he told you got you in? Well, he didn't really mention it, but it's I don't want a one-size-fits-all. Is there coming in that makes people educated that there really isn't what you're doing, a one-size-fits-all, that this can be an individualized thing?
It should be. I mean, everybody's a snowflake. Everybody's different. So how can you give a boilerplate plan and just expect that it's going to work for everybody? And unfortunately, we've had some people that have become clients that came from a broker side of things, and unfortunately they were really given bad advice. I mean, they were told that they could take 10% out of their accounts, and then 2008 happened and they were still told they could take 10% out of their accounts. And by the time they got to us, they had started with well over $1 million. They were a P&G, Procter & Gamble
early retiree
employee, and unfortunately, by the time they got to us, they were down to about $300,000. They had, between spend downs and between the advice that they had been given, they had blown through $700 and some odd $1,000. And when they came to us, we had to have a really hard conversation. Like, this is not sustainable. I'm sorry. You can't keep doing this unless you're going to go back to work and get a
And they knew it. I mean, they knew it coming in talking to us. They said, that's why we're here, is because we know this is not sustainable. So the good news is they're still clients, and they're still doing the retirement lifestyle that they want to do. So it's never too late. I wouldn't say it's ever too late. But you also have to be just that's why we are who we are. We are who we are on TV. Like, you don't see anybody any different when you come in. It's like, I think the atmosphere that we put forward with people, we've tried very, very hard to make sure that people feel relaxed when they come in, that it's not stuffy, that it's not overbearing, that we're not using big words, that we're not all those sorts of things. And it resonates, and I think people appreciate it.
Well, I know people appreciate it. I've seen it because you have a purpose, and purpose determines placement. The book is free if you come in for a visit. How much does a visit cost then, right? That's free as well. And the plan, the individualized plan that we'll put together for you, that's free as well. Because that's what you deserve, because you've created a purpose for yourself, and now you want to go beyond. Let us help you with that, because now is your time. 866-203-7486. We'd love to visit with you. We'd love to make it better for you. We appreciate you being with us on Your Retirement TV.
I think a company has to live its mission statement, and I think it's a constantly evolving thing with a progressive company.
when it came to managing 401ks. I was able to see what the big box industry did with and to consumers. Actually, the very first chapter of my book, Purpose Determines Placement, I talk about a gentleman that was in a meeting among a whole group of us that was right at the edge of retirement, just getting ready to retire, but there was also people in the room that were in their 20s. And what I noticed was a representative from the company, when anybody would ask a question, it didn't matter what age you were or what stage you were in as far as retirement was concerned, the answers were all the same. It didn't make any sense. Like, how could the advice for a 22-year-old be the same as the advice for a 62-year-old? That's what inspired me, was a 62-year-old gentleman that was nearing retirement that I didn't think was probably going to get the right kind of advice unless he was talking to somebody that really was thinking about what his long-term best interests were. So I started Duell Financial Strategies, I think 2000 was when I originally started, 2000 or 2001, and just took a look at the industry and literally decided that we were going to do everything 180 degrees polar opposite than what we saw our competition doing, than what we saw the generic big box brokers doing. When Andy and I met, well, it had been 9 or 10 years after I'd started the company. And she had her practice in California. And originally, interestingly enough, we had thought we would probably combine companies and end up spending most of our time in California. But she really kind of fell in love with the whole Midwest attitude. We love the people that are here. Everybody is genuine, they're real. They live the way we live.
Thanks for being with us on Your Retirement TV. Sam and Andy are here off the farm and back onto the set as we talk about the visits. Because I'm sending you to say, make a plan, come up with something. And your response is likely, I'm ashamed of what I've done. It's too late for me. I can't get there now. Let me just ride this out and figure it out later when they tell me what I've got. Take me through that first visit, if you would, and allay the fear, because I know the fear is real for so many people, Andy.
It is, yeah. So when you make the call, or you can go online, make an appointment online. But the call's going to come into Karen. She's going to probably send it over to Rick. Rick is going to talk to you a little bit about, what assets you have, what you're looking for, what you need to bring with you. It's pretty laid back. It's pretty easy. When you come in for the appointment, there's coffee and warm cookies and nuts and pretzels and the dogs if you're in Appleton.
Well, there's candy too. I know there's candy. Bit of honey Sam likes to have in the dish.
Yeah,
I know that already.
Yeah.
Quit telling people that.
Yep.
That's some people that came in and visited with me recently that were new. We'd never met them before. I don't listen to the radio or listen to TV, but we talked about the bit of honey thing and how I have maybe had a little bit of an addiction to a bit of honey. A little bit. They brought me a bag of bit of honeys, and they bought me, for those of us that are in Wisconsin, they brought me a Fleet Farm bag of bit of honeys, which is basically, I don't know, half a metric ton or something like that.
A lot.
A bit of honey. So
this sounds like a relaxed first visit.
It's very relaxed.
And this probably, my time is valuable. How much does that take? And do I need a second visit after that, Sam?
Yeah, we always set that first visit for about 90 minutes because we never know what we're going to run into. We find that, it depends upon how chatty you are, how deep we get into a conversation. But you're going to spend about an hour and a half with us when you come in for a first visit like that. Very laid back. As Andy said, it's very relaxed. 2 offices. You can come into our office in Appleton if you would like. We also have an office in Green Bay. So wherever if you're hearing us talk on television or on WTAQ or on WHBY, we have an office that's within proximity for you to get to. But that first meeting, we're actually not going to do very much talking in that first meeting. You're going to do all the talking. Because our job at that point in time is just to listen, to figure out, who are you? I mean, Brad, everybody is different. Everybody that comes in, Andy always says people are a snowflake, and they are. People are all different when they come in and talk with us. So we have to figure out first, who are you? What are you? Can we provide value to you? Is what we're doing going to be valuable to what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish? So that first meeting, we're going to walk through that process. And then if you figure out that we might be a fit for you, and if we figure out that you might be a fit for us, so we would be able to provide some value to you, then we'll probably suggest that you go through a second meeting, which is complimentary as well, but that second meeting is going to be more evaluation. Now I'm going to do a deep dive and an analysis of all of your investments. I'm going to put that through our software program called Riskalyze that we use, which is very individualized, very unique software program, so that if you feel like you're a number, if you feel like you're nothing more than a big box brokerage account number, well, then come and see us, because I can get rid of that for you. I can put together, and Andy and Lake and Luke can put together a plan for you that's designed for you. based upon your risk tolerances, based upon your hopes, your dreams, your ambitions. How about if we start there? How about if we start retirement planning with what you want and how you want to enjoy your retirement rather than what a broker wants or maybe what the home office of a company that a broker works for wants? It's like, no, that's not what this is about. This is not about buying a product. This is not about, you know, pounding a round peg into a square hole. This is about the next 25 to 30 years of your life. How do we structure that so that that 25 or 30 years is exactly what you want it to be?
Is it fair to say that some people will come in and go, I'm sorry, I don't want to come in because I don't even know what questions to ask? Can you help with the questions?
Very fair. That's absolutely, absolutely. Most people don't know what questions to ask. And how would you? You've never retired before. This is the first time you've ever done this. But we do find there's a common set of typically concerns when they come in. The first question we always get is, I want to find out if I can retire. Okay. That's not as difficult as a thing to do as you might think. It's actually, as Andy said, it basically comes down to math. And we can run that pretty quick to say, yeah, you're okay. You can retire. The second question people have, and this is a biggie, is how am I going to afford health insurance? If I retire at 62, how am I going to afford my health insurance until I'm 65 and I can go on Medicare? A lot of different things you can do there. We can help with that as well. And then the third one that comes into play, I'm afraid I'm going to run out of money. I'm scared I'm going to run out of money. Brad, the industry today is so, it's so broad, and there's so many things that we can do. There are so many solutions today that are built for retirees, specifically built for retirees. So that's a part of those meetings, first meeting, second meeting, figuring out, part of the plan, figuring out, okay, what kind of a person are you? You need X amount of dollars per month. You need $6,000 a month. We're going to get $3,000 of it from Social Security. That means we got to get $3,000 for somewhere else. Well, what kind of a person are you? Are you the type of person that you just want a $3,000 check in your bank account every month on the second of the month regardless, and you never want to worry about it again? Are you willing to take $3,000 some months, $3,500 the next, and $2,700 after that? So that's why it has to be personalized. That's why you can't be pounded into a round hole if you're a square peg.
I think we got it figured out. I think you guys have got it figured out.
And we'll help the listeners fill it out.
The book is free. The appointment is free. The plan is free. Don't waste any time. This is for you. Find your purpose. Call now. Thanks for being with us.